How can you stack $100,000 in gold? Let's talk about it. YouTube Vertical Stacker here, and I want everyone within the sound of my voice to stack $100,000 worth of gold over the course of the next 4 or 5 years, and I really think you could do it. Not everyone, obviously, everyone is of different means and incomes. However, I think the average American, if they really put their mind to it and they really buckled down on their spending, within 5 or so years could save $100,000. And if they wanted to, they could convert that into gold. This pile here represents a little over $100,000 worth of gold. And I've amassed it over a fairly short period of time, but anyone who has the willpower and has the ability to cut down on their expenditures, I believe, can do this very same thing. Let's talk about some of those expenditures that we could change as far as our habits go. Did you know that the average American spends approximately $3,500 a year eating out? Now, if you were to cut eating out entirely, does that mean you'd save $3,500? No, because you have to spend some of that money, obviously, at home eating food as well. But by and large, the food that you could spend that $3,500 on is going to last far longer than the $20, $30, $40, $100 you'll spend feeding your family out at Red Robin or some other restaurant. So look at your expenditures for eating out. You can save a lot of money there. Second, entertainment. The average American spends $3,050 each year on entertainment. Now, I don't know what that all entails, if it's just, movies and sporting events, things of that nature. Sorry, my computer's beeping at me. But entertainment, whatever all that encompasses, perhaps it's gambling as well. But $3,050. Now that's something that we can significantly reduce. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to, do you want to? Do you want to change your lifestyle and kind of crimp that entertainment and save that money? Or are there other avenues of entertainment, like just going out and enjoying nature, going on a hike, maybe foregoing the expensive tickets to the football game or the baseball game? But $3,050 a year is what the average American spends on sporting events. Vehicle purchases. That's the next item that Americans spend a lot of money on, where we could save. The average American spends $4,400 a year on vehicle purchases. Now what that means is that your monthly payment on that vehicle, whether it's a truck or a car or a lease, whatever it is $4,400 a year. That doesn't include gas and insurance and all that. That's just the actual cost of purchasing a vehicle. What are the ways we can cut down on those costs? Buy a used vehicle. Some of the wealthiest people I know, one is a really famous accountant and economist here in the Idaho area, and he has driven like a 1962 Dodge Dart or something like that for 40 years. That car was paid for probably 39 years ago, and he's been driving it ever since and just fixing it as it breaks down, and it just always impresses me. And this is someone who's a multi-millionaire, by the way, and he didn't get that way by spending foolishly and lavishly on new cars, new trucks, new this, new that all the time. So $4,400 a year is the average that we spend on a car. Now, we could just buy a $5,000 car outright, because there's some good ones out there. There really are. For $5,000, you can find a car that can last you a long time. Sure, you're going to have to maintain it. Sure, you're going to have to upkeep it. But to spend $4,400 every single year on car purchases, because that's what your payment is over the course of 5 or 7 years or whatever it is. And then, of course, we turn around and we do it again, right? After 5 or 7 years, we trade it in and do it again. But that's a great area where we could save quite a bit of money. The next two, I'm not beating up on anybody. We all have our vices, but cigarettes and alcohol. The average American spends $565 a year on alcohol. And I'm guessing that's a little low. But $565, alcohol is not a necessary thing in this world at all, nor is cigarettes, nor most vices, gambling and things like that. Sure, it's fun, it might feel good, whatever. But cigarettes, the average American spends $2,000 a year on cigarettes. Can you believe that? $2,000 a year. So between alcohol and cigarettes, that's $2,565 a year that we could be saving. And think about the other savings that come along with dropping alcohol or dropping cigarettes. I would suggest there are probably some substantial health benefits from doing that. Now, I'm not going to argue in here about, a glass of wine gives you all these benefits. That's not what I'm talking about. It's the, drinking while you're eating out, or just having the 6-pack of Coors Light or whatever it is in your fridge and keeping that replenished every other day if you're a heavy drinker. But at the end of the day, you can save over $2,500 a year if you'll cut those vices out of your life. Not to mention cheaper health insurance, probably cheaper car insurance, and you can have other savings as well. How about this one? And this is the last one I'll talk about. The average interest rate on a credit card. Consumer debt, consumer credit. Did you know the average interest rate is 14.52%? And for some of us, it's a lot higher if we have bad credit. We might be paying 22, 23, 24% interest on these credit cards. But the average American spends $1,162 a year on interest alone on their credit card. Now, that's crazy. Pay cash or forego what it is you're buying. Now, again, I understand emergencies happen, medical bills, things like that come up, and you might not have the cash to do it. But if you can avoid consumer debt, particularly with high interest rate credit cards, then you're going to be saving a lot of money. When I add up all of these things, eating out, entertainment, vehicle purchase, alcohol and cigarettes, the average cost, we could probably throw in there a cup of Starbucks a day. I think the average cup of Starbucks is about $3. That's $1,000 a year for someone who has a daily habit. Well, let's just add these things up. $3,500, $6,500, $10,000, $11,000, $12,000, $13,500, $14,000, $15,000. Eating out, Starbucks, entertainment, vehicle purchase, alcohol, cigarettes, average interest payments per year. The average American is spending $15,000 a year on things that are absolutely unnecessary. Now, again, I understand we've got to spend money to eat and we've got to spend money to have a vehicle and things like that, but we don't have to have the top of the line. We can buy a used beater. It all depends on where your mindset is and what your goals are. If your goals are to stack and your goals are to develop that mountain of gold and get, $100,000 in gold built up, you can do it, but we're going to have to make those sacrifices. So I would say within about 5 to 7 years, the average American could save $100,000 and convert it to gold. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. What are your thoughts? Do you think you could save $100,000 in 5 to 7 years by cutting your expenses? Let me know what you think. Vertical Stacker. Till next time.